This is Aidan Rees-Heron, and you're watching Property Geek TV episode 46. But it's been so long that I can't really remember what episode we're on. As you can see, we've moved physical location. This month we're in Peterborough, and but also digital location. This is no longer on my channel. This is now on the Discovery Hub YouTube channel. So a lot of stuff is going on. It's very exciting. I've not been very active because I've been very busy. There's a ton of stuff in the pipeline. I'm speaking to you about it. Happening under the surface that hopefully in the next few months you guys will see. But something that I was eager to do, and everyone at Discovery Hub, which is the new venture, is eager to do, is get back on the game of delivering some value, putting some content together, so some videos. We're starting a blog, an online magazine dedicated to property entrepreneurs and small business owners, and that's all going on. I think that's everything from me. Today I'm with Pete Adamson.
Hi there, nice to meet you.
And I'm very rusty because it's been a while since I've done this, and so
this is my first time doing this.
this is Pete's first time doing this. So today what we're going to do is a little bit different. I'm going to ask Pete a little bit about what he's up to, because he's doing some interesting stuff, and how he came into development discovery, which is an area of Discovery Hub focused on property developing, and what you are hoping to do really. But before that, do you want to introduce yourself?
No problem. So my name is Pete Adamson. My areas of investment are Sheffield and Nottingham in the Midlands. Predominantly do student HMOs and professionals as well. Been doing that full time now for 3.5 years or so. So that's kind of me. You know, I've known Aidan for a couple of years now. Good guy. And yeah, just looking to do more.
Almost eat as much as you.
I'm known to eat a lot, yeah. So
yeah,
yeah, just looking to do. These guys are doing a development discovery program, which I'm involved with now. So exciting times ahead.
Just to update you all, those that don't know, the development discovery thing. Before we get into chatting a little bit, because I want to talk about why you chose the student market. Because I know some people are looking. Do they invest in students? Do they invest in professionals? What area do they go in? A lot of people that I know do property investing rather than developing. So we'll get into that. But the development discovery program with a developer, which is Alan Christie, I think he was on episode 30. These guys are doing a live development with his help, and by the end of it, you'll have a project that's done and dusted that you can take to financiers and be like, here, this is what I did. But it's invitation only, so we're currently full. Sorry. But yeah, before we crack on, before we even talk about what you're doing in property, why did you even get into property in the first place? Because like you did some other stuff before, right?
Yeah, so I went to university at the kind of normal age 18 to 22-ish. So my university degree started off as architecture, but then I switched to quantity surveying, so that's again a building surveying sort of course. Since a young age, I've always been interested in property, and always felt this urge to want to create something, and that's just where the interest came from, really. Just the ability to either create something from scratch, or to take something which is maybe no longer of use and turn it into something which is useful to, you know, society at large, if you like.
Just like, is it the tangibility of property that you like?
Yes, it's very tangible. It's something you can, you know, see develop.
Touch, smell, and lick if you wanted to, but I wouldn't recommend it.
Yeah, not so much lick, but
or smell. Some of the places don't smell them either.
No, so it's just that. Yeah, since I was a kid, I always wanted to be a builder or something like that, and I just didn't know what when I was younger. But obviously, as you mature, you explore these things. So yeah, just always been interested in the whole creative side of things.
So what would you tell to people, I guess, that Like the idea of doing something where you can create something, but there's plenty of things that you can do where you can create something. So what would you tell them if they've not got any experience or something like that? What do you think they should do?
In the kind of property angle? Or
Yeah,
just
well, okay. I know I want to create something. I don't really mind what it is at the moment, but I don't really have any experience doing anything. So what should they do?
So the creative question, I guess. As creative people will know, you come up with ideas all the time. It's just a case of just try to implement some and see where you go, because you never know what's going to happen once you start the journey, if that makes sense. So it's taking those ideas to action, and just seeing kind of what works for you, what interests you, what works for the market, and just testing and just trying new things really.
So like I know what I would be saying if I was listening and I hadn't done it before.
Okay.
It's like, okay, great, I understand that, but how do I go about doing that? So like you got into HMOs, right?
Yeah.
Multi-lets and stuff. So like how did you go from saying, I want to do something that's creative, I'm interested in building, I guess, you could have equally ventured down the becoming a builder route. What made you choose and how did you choose going down the investing route?
So, so with my earlier projects, I got very hands-on.
Yeah.
So I was, hacking plaster off back to brick and things like that. But I think so I saw what was in my immediate area, and saw, because again I love business and enterprise and that sort of thing. So there's no point in trying to sell something that isn't going to work in that area, especially with property. You need to keep it local. So I saw what was going on in my area. I saw what value I could add in certain areas, and just took it from there, if that makes sense. And when I started out, I was very hands-on. So as I just mentioned, knocking down walls and doing joinery, that sort of thing. But
that's really fun, by the way. If you get I know that you say you shouldn't do it, you should leverage it, but if you get the chance, even just on one go, just to have a crack at it. I remember when I was 12, we had evicted some tenants, not me, but like I was involved in, some tenants have been evicted, and when I was talking about places that smell, this place stunk, but we went in and had to rip out walls, cupboards, tear out the kitchen. It's the best time ever. If you've got kids, they'll do it for free because they just love it. So yeah, but
and if you've had a stressful week, there's no better way to release some stress than to knock some stuff apart. So going back to it's just kind of, as you evolve in any business, you realise if you're in the grind of it day to day, you can never grow the business. So I realised, doing this kind of, what might have been fun to start with, it was frustrating in the end because I wasn't able to grow the business, and there was only a certain size which you can get to. Certain number of projects you can do at once and all this sort of thing. So I kind of learned that through both experience and seeing what other people were doing at the same time, and just speaking with people with more experience as well.
So getting around the right people. Would you say
that's the most important thing about anything you want to do, enterprising wise, business, property, anything. You need to surround yourself with people that are going to help, basically. Whether it doesn't have to be that tangible help, as in helping you knock down a wall, but someone that's going to encourage you and bounce ideas off people and things like that.
Cool. So into the nitty gritty, we'll only be another minute or two, but what you did HMOs before. Top 3 reasons why you chose to do students.
Top 3 reasons. Sheffield is full of them, so there's a massive market.
They're everywhere.
So the market was massive. So I thought, as a kind of to penetrate that, there was a big, I think it was 60,000 students at the time in the city, which is quite large for a fairly small northern town.
Yeah, it's not that big, is it, Sheffield?
It's not at all, no. It's not at all. So the massive market. Students, I was obviously a student myself, so I think a lot of this, I can relate to it, if that makes sense. You know, so what the customer requires, as in like I used to be a tenant in a student house, you know, like a HMO.
Yeah.
And, you know, I know what I wanted from a property, what I expected from a landlord, so I could put myself in the customer's shoes.
Yep.
And number 3, I tested the HMO model on both.
On what?
On both professional students and just kind of, you know, I don't think I tested kind of benefits, but those were the main two I tested.
Yep. And
students, because came up trumps. Everyone who was applying to take rooms at the time seemed to be a student or some way connected with the uni. So it just kind of made sense at the time.
So it's quite interesting. You did like that test. Did you do it without having any properties, or what did you do when you were doing that test?
So I did some I did initial testing before I got the first property, and then when I got the first property, I did the same, you know, kind of marketing campaign. And
yep.
you know, it was a 5-bedroom mid-terraced, and I think kind of the 8 people that applied for the 5 rooms, 6 were students.
Mm-hmm.
So just kind of, it was a no-brainer really that just put them together.
Okay. So like that so you had a property in mind.
Yeah,
Had you bought the property, or were you gonna buy the property and you did a test to see whether, like a marketing test to see whether you'd get enough demand to fill the property?
It was a market. I knew the area was great anyway,
yeah.
And I just did a test for that same street basically.
Yeah.
It's a massive street with a row of terraces, and I just said, you know, if I had this in this area, what demand would there be? Knowing that house was on the
mm-hmm.
cards for a future acquisition, basically.
Okay. My question then is, if you didn't have the house and you're marketing it for being filled as a HMO, I've done it as well, but it'd just be interesting to see what you did. How did you get did you just market like images coming soon, information coming soon? Like, what did they do? Did they call your cell phone and you just like chat with them?
Yeah, so a lot of these houses, mid-terrace, as you can imagine, a row of terraces, mm-hmm. they're pretty much all the same. So in terms of actual marketing materials, it's quite simple to get. I think I borrowed pictures from a friend who had a house that was the same, just different colour walls, or something like that.
I suggested that to someone. That's what I do. I'm just asking to see like what process you go through. Yeah. And I suggested it to someone. They were like, "Oh no, what if they find out that it's I don't have it?" And I'm like, "What? How will they find out?"
Most people
just borrow a picture. Go online, right, and type in like rooms or something in a completely different location to where you are, and just borrow those pictures. That's what I did. That's a bit cheeky.
It is
than borrowing off a friend, but
yeah, you know,
it works.
You've got to test a business idea before you follow through, because you know obviously it's money and capital and time at stake. So you've got to be able to kind of at least have it in your own mind that it's going to, you know, be successful.
There's also this thing, I guess, about sorry to interrupt, about entrepreneurs take risks, but every time I speak to someone, like speaking to you now, it's more about trying to reduce the number of risks that you have to take before you take them. So you're checking the market to see if the demand is there. You've not bought the house yet, and you've already decided that you're going to do students instead of professionals. At that point, could you like forecast how much your return on that house was going to be?
Yes, but it's still, as you said, it's a calculated risk.
Yeah.
That's the difference between, you know, as an entrepreneur, as a business person, you do have to take a risk because that's the kind of aim of the game. But it's a calculated, you know, risk based on what what you've researched and what you've tested and all this sort of thing. Well, that's what works for me anyway.
Yeah. And so you get your first house. What happened? Like, you scale it up from there, and now you've got a bunch of HMOs, right, on rent to rents.
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah, and now you're looking to move into developments. So you've got a bit of experience in property. Development experience. What development experience did you have before, like, getting involved?
So development experience. A couple of the landlords I work with were experienced kind of guys. They had done development, so I tried to, whenever I could, meet with them, chat about potential future projects they were doing, or things that were maybe under construction or things I've done in the past. So just always trying to soak up knowledge from people that have done it in the past, basically.
Why were you trying to? But like, why if your HMOs and things are working nicely, like, do you remember there being a spark or something that got you like, I want to do some developing?
I'm always looking for a new project, something of interest. So I think maybe it's going back to the whole wanting to be a builder when I was a kid. You know, build something from scratch.
Yeah.
So maybe that area wasn't being fulfilled by just renting out property. You know, maybe doing a refurb, but not you know, creating or building something. So I think that's maybe where it came from. But no, it just, you know, I've watched things like Grand Designs and stuff. Obviously,
I
that's
love
the kind
Grand Designs.
That's a very, you know, well-known TV show. So things like that, it'd be amazing just to create buildings like that all the time as your thing you do.
So your like development experience before coming here was like refurbs, light refurbs or heavy refurbs? Like how much of a refurb are you doing? Are you gutting out the whole thing and reinstalling it, or?
No, so maybe biggest refurb we've done is maybe, you know, 8-10 grand, something like that. So nothing too major. Yeah, nothing kind of, you know, build an extension or back to brick and things like that. You know.
But still quite like 8 to 10 grand, still a hefty refurb.
Yeah, definitely. But it's on bigger houses, remember. So these are kind of bigger 5, 6, 7 bed student kind of HMO mid-terrace things, so over 3 stories. So yeah, but that's the.
So it's like a couple of grand per room almost, depending on the size.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. And so, what have you learned in the past? But I'm trying to wrap up now, but I keep asking questions. Are you alright?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. So what's the plan? You went, I want to get into developments. You kind of knew that, you spoke about knowing that, like, okay, what I'm doing in HMOs and rent to rents is not really satisfying my craving to create something new. Like, do you have an idea of where you want to take your developments eventually? Like, forward pace?
Yeah. I've already spoken to Alan about this.
Okay.
I want to build a skyscraper of at least 40 stories.
Okay, I was about to say, what constitutes a skyscraper? 'Cause, like, I've got friends that would
I know
say
you
they're
mean.
on a skyscraper if it's got 5 stories.
Yeah, no, it's got to be substantial. Something that it makes an impact on the skyline of the city, basically. So 40 stories, that's pretty substantial.
Why a skyscraper though? Why a skyscraper?
Because
and
I
not
want to
like
live in the
40
penthouse.
houses or
I want to live in the penthouse, which is the whole of the top floor.
Yeah.
And just rent out the rest.
Okay. What city?
It's going to have to be America, isn't it? 40 stories. That's too big for England, I think.
Oh, but you could make a significant statement if you build the tallest building in the UK.
It'd have to be London, wouldn't it? You know,
Yeah.
If it's in the UK, 40 stories.
That'd be pretty cool. Okay. And
watch this space.
Watch this space. Or like that space up there is probably the... okay, so that's where you want to go. Where are you now?
So where are we now? So again, on the Development Discovery Programme, we are working on a live project, which is 11 holiday kind of apartments.
Yep.
Down in the southwest, which is really exciting. It's an apartment block of 11 apartments, and that's the project we're working on right now. It's construction hasn't started, but it's you know, hopefully very soon we'll be setting up on that, and that's what we're working on right now.
Yeah, pretty close to getting everything wrapped up. Hopefully next week it's exchanging.
Yeah,
is that the plan?
Yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah.
How long will the project take?
So the project, I think in terms of build, obviously very loose numbers without, you know, 12 months to build, and then in terms of sales, obviously it depends on the market at the time, but we suspect 18 months for the whole thing. You know, to be selling units.
Cool.
Units
awesome.
as in flats. Yeah.
Nice. I think that's probably everything. I used to ask you guys a question, but I don't really. If you've got any questions for Pete, HMOs, rental rents, even refurbs. Put them in the comments. What we're trying to do is collect a mass of questions again so that we can start doing Q&As. Q&A would be fun, I think. And it also is less stressful. We just pick a question out of a hat and we just answer the question, and then we dilly-dally around the question for a while. But I thought it'd be cool to introduce you guys to Pete. I'm going to try and get some other, rope some of the others in and chat to them as well. And then in a few months we can come back and maybe do episodes like this again and see where you guys are at, whether you've got that skyscraper.
Yeah, definitely.
And take it from there. Finally, we'll have put your thing up, but is there anywhere people can reach you, or if you want people to contact you?
Yeah, so my website's peteadamson.com, fairly simple.
Mm-hmm.
You know, my email and stuff is on there, so just check out the site, and that's me.
Cool. Awesome.
peteadamson.com.
That's it. Cheers.
Excellent. Thank you.